Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In Nier Reincarnation, I thought I would finally make the video where I talk about my favorite costumes per character. There are a variety of reasons why I choose different costumes for each character. Let's go through and let's talk about it. First three here, these will be special mentions. I have one costume selected for each character, but these three, I just liked these so much that I had to mention them. And they're all 3-star, actually. I think the 3-star costumes are really well done in this game. I like almost all of them. But first we have the 3-star Akiha, Guardian Akiha. And then what I like about her is that her kimono is kind of the most kind of traditional as far as like how it's worn, and then also the patterns and everything. So I like this. This at least shows that the designers are familiar with kimono. And then we have 3-star Demas, and then I like him because he wears jeans, and then he cuffs them like so. That's a good look, especially with boots. But yeah, kind of a cute costumes for Demas. He's got the vest and the sheriff badge there. Yeah, really playing up the cowboy-ness of it. And then we have 3-star Yuri. I have a weakness for thighs and hot pants, which is why I chose this one. But yeah, I also just like the simplicity of the costume. And then kind of a dystopian a little bit with the all black there. Very cool. Okay, let's get into the actual favorite picks, and then we'll go roughly in order from Girl Monster to Sun Moon. But here are F66X and 063Y. With F66X, I like the bloody costume. I thought it was so interesting that like her armor covers everything except for her bald head. Very bold choice there. But I also like that it kind of looks like she's wearing shorts with this costume. Very cool, kind of menacing looking. I like it. And then, not on topic, but if you asked me if they could save one aspect of the game, like in an offline version or like a standalone app, I would say 3D viewer, more than anything else. Okay, then 063Y, I like the Dark Memory costume. When I first installed the game, back when JP was out and then Global hadn't even been released yet, this costume of all of them kind of struck me as the most cool. And then this was, at the time, the Dark Memory costume that I wanted to unlock first. I eventually went for Griff, but yeah. Still really like this guy. Okay, next we got the 3 from that sort of earlier bit of history, Gale, Demas, and Leon. Demas, this is my favorite costume of his, and one of my top 3 in the entire game. But the anniversary version. I've talked about this in the fashion check. I'll link to the playlist of my fashion checks before. But I like his short kind of biker jacket. I like the kind of the luxurious scarf that he's wearing. Good contrast with the leather jacket. And I'm assuming leather pants. Yeah, just very cool look overall. A little bit of a kind of a ponytail in the back too. Okay, and then Abstract Gale. I like the mask and I like the ass. That's what I like about this costume. Also very kind of impactful at the very beginning of the game when it was first released. Very cool look. And then kind of like built up shoulder pads as well. Yeah, still very striking. Iconic look, at least to me. Okay, and then 3-star Leon. I had a hard time picking Leon, because I like all of them. But I like the hat here. I like the shoes, kind of the Mary Jane shoes. And then the shorts with like bellows in them. Very distinctive look too. I've always wanted to do a fashion check on Leon, but I feel like all of his fashions, they reference so much kind of like Victorian era, continental, sort of royalty fashion, and I don't know very much about that at all, so I've never felt the confidence to do kind of a collected fashion check for him. Okay, next we have a bunch of characters that are kind of like singles, Noel, Akiha, and Argo. Noel, I like the bloodless version, and this is 100% because of the mask. But I also like that she's kind of like not wearing a whole lot, but with the high legs. Again, I like the thighs, and then I wish that we could remove the coat and look at the costume like that, but still, very, very cool. I wonder if this Noel was the first bloodless version, but I like all of the bloodless, including Akea here. But this one is so cool. Very, very dark kimono, and then like bits and pieces of like samurai armor on her, and then a mask which could be interpreted as a part of like a samurai helmet, or as like a part of a Hanya mask. And then extra swords just here and there. Super, super cool. Oh, and heels. Yeah, I just love this look. Perfect angle in the illustration there, just to get a look at the one eye there. Very cool. And then for Argo, I don't know if I love any particular costume of his more than any other, but I went for the fractured. I like them all equally. It might sound like I don't have a favorite, but yeah, I like them all equally. They all look kind of like sort of Viking and sort of tattered. Sort of worn. Really fits the character. Alright, then we got Lars and Griff. Lars and Griff also was difficult to choose because I like so many of theirs. They have a lot of kind of uniforms or suits and things. I highly recommend the fashion checks for these two. But the Lacrima for Lars I really like. I like how he has kind of like a kind of a very slim silhouette on the legs, and then a very full silhouette in his top. Looks very modern, looks a little bit like a firefighter. Really like it. And then Griff here. I said he looks like the kind of the Italian, I forget what it's called, the secret police or something. But yeah, he's got the epaulettes with the tassels hanging down. He's got the hat. Got the long coat, or the skirt on the coat there. High boots, gloves. Really like it. Alrighty, and then Fio and Levania. For Levania, I just like the 2-star. I like the original. I just thought the design on this was just so interesting and unique. Very cockroach-like. And then he's got some chains, which sort of mirrors Fio's costume. But yeah, it was very cool. Like when the game was first released in JP, he was not a playable character. That came later. That was very exciting when that did come. And then we have Fio. She's another one where I've always been sort of intimidated about doing a fashion check for, because her too, kind of like Victorian era or earlier. More like nobility or like royal fashion, so I haven't been able to speak on it very well. But this costume I just felt was so like silly, you know, over the top. Not suited for battle at all. But this is a very early release in the life of Nier Reincarnation, and like this, in addition to some other designs, showed me that Nier Reincarnation was not your average mobile game. Alright, let's get into Sun Moon. We'll talk about Sadu and Priyat first. Here I like the 2-stars. I like their original versions the most. I feel like all of the Priyat ones are a little silly. I mean, which is on purpose, but I do like the original very much. Very simple, but still impactful, I would say. And then that coupled with her size. She's like 2 meters tall. And then Sadu. I like uniforms, and this is like the school uniform for her school. But we got the necktie. I love neckties on girls. We got the big hat. We got the overcoat with the double-breasted, and then the high stockings with the shoes with the buckles there. Just really like it. I like a lot of Sadu's costumes as well. There's a lot of elements of kind of menswear in them, like you would often see with school uniforms in the UK. Right, and then we have Marie and Yuri. With Marie, I was trying to decide between this one or the anniversary, but yeah, I like this one a lot. And actually, with a lot of Marie's costumes, there's kind of a lot of, it's there's like a lot of revealing elements. We can kind of get a sense of this here, but we can kind of see like her hip, maybe her behind, underneath the sort of like big kind of dramatic floaty skirt there. And then black, kind of a striking color for her, because she's definitely sort of like the light of this pair compared to the darkness of Yui. So yeah, I feel like this costume is very striking, and I like the bare back, the bare shoulders. Very cool. And then another top 3 costume that I love is going to be New Year's Yui. I've gushed about this in the fashion check video. But I like this because it's kimono, and then it's very accurate, like structure-wise. But it's got some elements of like modernization, and then also like a sense of humor. The modernization comes with this very open front, but still, it would be kind of structurally making sense if you made this in real life. But it would be practical as well. It would be much easier to walk around in this than an actual kimono. And then the sense of humor comes in where she has like the pattern. It kind of looks like a motherboard. And then the accessories on her obi, the sash, and then in her hair ornament. It's all kind of like late 80s, early 90s technology. Pretty cool looking. And then there are a few costumes that Yuri has that do have senses of humor. Like I would say the summer version as well, like wearing the snorkel goggles. Yuri, she's kind of a funny character, actually. Also in the comics that they showed in Twitter, they have her like being a fan of Marie, so yeah, a little bit of humor there as well. Okay, then we have Udil and Saafa. I think of Udil's costumes, I like the anniversary version. But there's very much like a kind of a sense of formality about it. You got a high collar there. It's very closed up. And then with a lot of Udil's costumes, you know, his upper body, his upper half, will have kind of a more trim silhouette. And then he'll have a very full sort of lower half to his body. A lot of times with more kind of fashionable people that think about silhouette, they'll have like a full upper body and then trim legs. But Udil is often kind of reversing that. So very interesting silhouette, very unique. And I like the side-parted hair on him. Alright, and then we have Saafa, and this is the 3-star version. And her too, she has a few costumes where she has like a very trim upper body and a very full lower body. And I like that. I like that on women more, actually. But yeah, still has the veil, like the fortune teller. And then she's got the arms covering. And then with that arm covering, it kind of makes her look even more sort of naked with the bare shoulders and the bare midriff. And then kind of a fuller bottom, but kind of a exposed hip there. And then a cinched ankle, so yeah. Silhouette-wise, I really love this costume, and a lot of Saafa's costumes. Okay, and then finally, I like these costumes on Yuzuki, Hina, and 10H. For 10H, I like the original. It's all about the garters. I am a fan of garters as well. Also accentuates the thighs. And yeah, in case anyone was wondering, you wear the underwear over the garters. The reason for that is so that you can leave the garters on when you take off the underwear. I'll say no more than that. And then with Hina and Yuzuki, I like their 3 stars as well. They have kind of the technical fashion. So kind of modern day, but with some like strappy things, pockets, a little bit of a military vibe. And a cool baseball cap on Hina. Although in real life, that baseball cap would look ridiculously large. I've complained about this before, but like a lot of the hats in this game, the size of it doesn't account for like compression of the hair on the head. So yeah, that's kind of silly and too big. But minor gripe. I like that she's wearing the kind of the collar dress shirt underneath the large t-shirt, sticking out the bottom there. She's got some spats, I guess you could say, and then chunky sneakers. Really like this. And then Yuzuki, kind of a similar story here. But also wearing a hat, wearing a dress shirt underneath a bigger t-shirt, kind of a strappy, pockety sort of a harness thing. And then him too, kind of got a full silhouette on the upper half, trim silhouette on the bottom half, cinched at the ankles, and then chunky sneakers. Very cool look, I think, very modern. And those are my favorite costumes for all of the characters in Nier Reincarnation. Again, I wish they would leave the 3D viewer for us to mess with. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.